Speaking of which, what do you think of the national ID system?
Yeah.
The national ID, there are pros and cons, all right? The national ID would be more convenient for the individual citizens to have any of the documents, his or hers, to be processed real quickly, provided those who are securing that data are competent. Let's not forget what happened in Comelec 3 years ago with the Comelec. A fresh graduate was doing nothing but bored, toyed around with the website and was able to hack. And what kind of agency that's not able to secure? So there's always accountability on that agency. But where's the chairman of that agency? He went kaput. He went running. He's in the U.S. He's being sued for that. The National Privacy Commission has filed a case against that Comelec chairman. But where is he? He's not facing his case right now.
Okay.
So in the same manner, if with regards to the unified, it's subject to how secured are those agencies in maintaining. If not, let's not pursue that.
So are we secure? Are we secure?
No, we're not. We're not.
So we shouldn't pursue the national ID
No,
system?
not yet. We're not that. We don't have that much level of maturity. All right? Pardon my expression, they're all a bunch of amateurs.
Ang trabaho ng senador, hindi lang IT. So we'll, in our rapid-fire, quick-fire question round, we'll ask you as many questions as we can. Keep your answers as brief as possible. And we'll see your thoughts on other issues.
Okay.
Divorce law.
I'm open to that. It's also in the scriptures that even though the Lord said, what God put together, let no man put asunder, God also said, but because his two couples could not live in peace, let them be separated, but to remain unmarried. So I'm open to that.
Okay, same-sex marriage.
Well, again, going back to the scriptures, none of the, because our Constitution is done with the guidance from divine providence, all right? So we have Islam, we have Christian, we have Protestants, we have Iglesia Cristo, and none of those writings have already allowed in their provisions same-sex marriage.
Lowering the age of criminal liability.
Lowering the age of criminal liability, you know, prior to the time that was increased to the age of, I think we have to go back to where it was before, which is age 12. So, and I think, but we have to strengthen the juvenile court. We have to strengthen the imprisonment, that they should not be mixed with the adults, so they can still be rehabilitated and go back to society and be more productive members of society.
Okay, what about abortion?
Of course, abortion, we cannot allow that. That's murder in any degree, for that matter. Now, there are some instances like unwanted pregnancy by rape, or it's a matter of question, and how would the, you know, the parent carrying the child, what is her freedom of choice? Is it a matter of her allowing the child that was not forced? But under that circumstances, beyond that, I cannot go for abortion.
The president rejected the bill on anti-corporal punishment. What's your thoughts on that?
How do you mean by
Anti-palo.
Anti-palo.
Anti-palo. Well, spare the rod and let the child grow undisciplined. So I think, to some degree, you should allow to discipline. Again, I go back to the scriptures, which says, spare the rod and let the child grow up, you know, unwieldy. So if you do not take that, if you take that out, we might grow a generation, a society of wayward youths. So they have to some degree, they have to be disciplined. I mean, I went through that type of disciplining, and it made the best man out of me, and I think it would be also best
yes,
treated.
but do you see the rationale of the proponents that they feel also that a line has to be drawn somewhere?
In this day and age where information is already going practically in your own household, right? And they've already seen so many practices, they might think there's an advantage to that. But if you look at the other states, like Singapore that allows caning, what makes a progressive country like them allow such practice in their own community? And we're not even advanced in our status as an economy, yet we're allowing, we have to restrict on the use of the corporal punishment.
Are you in favor of sex education in schools? And do we even need it? You're an IT expert.
Yes, to some degree for responsible sex practices. That's
Can children get it from the internet anyway?
Yeah, the children get it from the internet, true. But in your question, whether should we allow that in
schools?
In schools.
And at what grade, if you're in favor?
I agree. You know, to some degree, the educators must come up with a curriculum or a syllabus that will slowly graduate that time of learning curve. not as young as first grader to third grader would be introduced to this type of concept, or even the fourth grader. But on the intermediate, maybe slowly talk about the birds and the bees. Probably they can understand that, and then later on they can go in depth as they move on to the higher level.
War on drugs.
Oh, definitely, because that's one that's
Definitely what? You're agreeable?
yeah. Especially when you're bringing down the drug lords, not the users. As they say, jail the pusher, or
Save the user, jail
Jail
the
the
pusher.
pusher.
In the way that it's
No, but
being
yes, in the way
carried
that
out.
Duterte is actually
okay.
carrying it out.
Well, okay, it's already a cancer. The kind of thing that we have right now, it's already cancerous. But in lowly areas, there's a lot of incidents of drug use there, and the incidents of crimes, heinous crimes, are also happening in those types of communities. It is a stopgap measure.
But do you like how it's being carried out right now?
It's lacking. If I were in position, I would require those arresting officers to be equipped with, camera,
Body cam.
cams, and then they have to do a certain procedure. As they subject themselves to whatever arrest, and then whenever they do the arrest, they have to cover that. If they don't have this as to show, then those apprehending officer would be probably penalized as a measure. But so all the things that they do has to be covered.
What about train one, train two?
All right.
Both trains.
The thing about the train law is that what most of those previous legislators that plundered our country with vast amount of money. You're talking about hundreds of billions of pesos. Take the case of the PDAF and DAP. That's why we're trying to cover up the expenses. So we have to cover that, but the approach to that, answer to your question, Ed, our financial technocrats are not imaginative. What our stance in the Katipunan Democratic Filipino, what our stance is, they should have looked into the ODA, Overseas Development Assistance, and see if they're willing to finance these infrastructure projects. If it's a purpose for that, say finance projects. And whoever is this grantor, like the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, different from ADB, for World Bank, they give us a major attractive terms like a moratorium of 10 years before we start paying it. Because by the time the infrastructure is finished, then we can really recoup the investments there. Then probably there is no need for train law. Another approach for that is government as a corporate entity can also issue treasury bonds, securities. That way, those who can afford to invest and be guaranteed a payback in a period of 20, 25 years or 30 years, then only those who had money, so that you will not tax the public.
The locals. But China is willing to give us loans up to 2% for interest.
Yeah, but if you have, if 2% interest, provided they give us first a moratorium of 10 years of non-payment.
So you're okay with that as long as there's a 10-year moratorium?
Yeah. So that way, we can recoup after we have already see the infrastructure being built.
That's when we start paying.
That's paying, not when it's not benefiting it.
Okay. Federalism?
Federalism is almost there by the local government code. It's been subjected to extreme abuse, and I think if you're putting the power of the purse on a local level, you have to, if we're really be able to monitor how they're spending it, then well and good. But since our implementation of IT is not mature, then they're at risk.
Okay. Charter change.
Charter change is high time. Good question. If you compare the parliamentary form of government from 1972 to 1986, and then we had a bicameral presidency from 1986 to 2019, and even before that, I think the parliamentary were able to achieve more than when we came up with two houses.
All right. I'm afraid we're out of time. Yeah. We'll give you 20 seconds to summarize whatever you want to say and talk to the public.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity, Ed, Lucy, Ami, and Robbie. And I think for your viewers, we, the Katipunan Democratic Filipino, is a new party. We are a new party of choice. Our principle is we're a party of principles, not of convenience. We're a party of ideas, not of personalities. Our aim and our mission and our vision is for the future generation that we would inherit a more robust system, and we'll be able to correct the flaws and the faults since the time that we have changed the administration from 1986 onwards. There's a failure there, and the only way we can do this is not by ourselves, but we need to collect a larger majority to espouse this advocacy.